The crimson void wasn't a natural phenomenon. It was a membrane between different states of existence. The entities that dwelled within it perceived reality through fundamentally different cognitive frameworks. Previous expeditions had failed because their minds couldn't adapt to the translation process. But humans, with their unique neuroplasticity and capacity for abstract thought, had provided a bridge. The Odyssey's crew hadn't died. They had transcended, becoming intermediaries between normal space and the void realm. The ship itself had been transformed into a communication device, a Rosetta Stone between incomprehensible modes of existence. "They're still here," Dr. Novak whispered as understanding flooded her consciousness. "All around us. They're trying to show us." The patterns shifted again, forming recognizable images, star maps, molecular structures, equations of staggering complexity. Knowledge beyond the current understanding of any council race poured through the connection. "This is why the void was forbidden." Elder Morvath's voice had taken on a multitonal quality. "Not to protect us from destruction, but from transformation." The Ancient Ones knew. High Admiral Zentrix felt his ordered worldview crumbling as the void entities shared glimpses of reality beyond conventional perception. "This changes everything." "Not everything," Commander Chen said quietly, his eyes focused on something only he could see. "Just our understanding of everything." The connection lasted only minutes but contained eternities of information. When it finally receded, the patterns on the walls returned to their flowing, ambient state. The five of them stood in silence, forever changed by what they had experienced. "The Council must know," Zentrix finally said, his voice unsteady. "This discovery will cause panic if not properly managed." Dr. Novak finished. "The entities don't wish to invade or conquer. They want to share knowledge, to expand understanding. But such rapid expansion can break minds unprepared for it." As they returned to the Horizon Breaker, each member of the boarding party carried a piece of the void's consciousness within them, a seed of understanding that would grow and spread. The galactic power structure would indeed shift, not through military might or technological advantage, but through a fundamental evolution in how sentient beings perceive reality itself. The human vessel remained in the crimson void, a beacon for those ready to understand. And across the galaxy, those who had once feared the unknown began to dream of crimson mists and flowing patterns, calling them forward into a universe far stranger and more wonderful than they had ever imagined. In the silence of her private quarters weeks later, Ambassador Nivara received a message from Director Kellis. "Project Lighthouse successful beyond all projections. Humanity's place in the cosmos secured not through dominance, but through connection. The stars are no longer our limit, merely our beginning." The hologram zoomed in on the ship's hull, revealing curious patterns etched into its surface, swirling, organic designs that seemed to shift and move even as they watched. "Those markings aren't standard on human vessels," Nivara admitted, her composure finally showing cracks of concern. "They appear to be forming and reforming in real time," Ulith observed, his translucent body pulsing with fascination. "Almost like a language." "A language," Threx scoffed. "The void communicates with no one. It consumes. It destroys." "Perhaps," Zentrix said thoughtfully, "that is merely what we've chosen to believe, because we've never survived to learn otherwise." The chamber grew quiet as the implications settled over the assembled representatives. "I will lead the retrieval mission personally," Zentrix finally declared. "We will construct a vessel using our most advanced shielding technology, incorporating protective elements from all our civilizations." "That could take months," protested Threx. "We don't have months," Elder Morvath countered. "If the void is communicating through this human ship, we must understand why and how before whatever happens next." Ambassador Nivara stepped closer to the hologram, studying the shifting patterns on the Odyssey's hull. "I request that human representatives be included in the retrieval team. They are our people, our technology, and possibly your weapon," Threx muttered, but even he could not deny the logic of the request. "Granted," Zentrix nodded. The team will include representatives from each major council race, including humans. We depart in 3 rotations. As the conclave session adjourned, the representatives dispersed with unprecedented urgency. Teams of scientists and engineers were immediately mobilized. Defensive systems were put on high alert across multiple sectors, and intelligence agencies began discreet investigations into the Odyssey's original mission parameters. Ambassador Navarra remained alone in the chamber long after the others had gone, staring at the holographic image of the Earth vessel. The shifting patterns on its hull seemed almost familiar now, like a half-remembered dream. Something about them resonated within her on a level beyond conscious thought. "What did you find out there?" she whispered to the empty room. "And what found you?" In the silent darkness of her private quarters, 3 sectors away, Director Kellis of Earth Intelligence reviewed classified files that had never been shared with the Conclave. The Odyssey's true mission had been known to only 5 people in the Solarian government, and 3 of them were now dead. The specialized equipment hidden aboard the ship, the carefully selected crew with their unique neurological profiles, the true purpose of their journey into the fringes of the Crimson Void. All of it had been part of Project Lighthouse, humanity's most ambitious and dangerous attempt to contact what they believed lived within the void. "They made contact," Kellis murmured, studying the patterns on the ship's hull. "God help us all. They actually made contact. Beyond understanding." The retrieval vessel, christened Horizon Breaker, approached the edge of the Crimson Void with extreme caution. Its hull gleamed with the combined defensive technologies of 7 advanced civilizations: Olnir phase shields, Calathar quantum stabilizers, Sendri crystalline reinforcement matrices, and at its core, an experimental human consciousness buffer designed to protect against the mind-warping effects reported by previous expeditions. On the command deck, High Admiral Zentrix surveyed his diverse crew. The retrieval team consisted of 12 specialists, 2 from each major council race, including the humans Dr. Ilara Novak and Commander Marcus Chen from the Solarian Alliance. Final systems check, Zentrix ordered as the swirling crimson boundary loomed before them. "Once we cross the threshold, maintain minimal communications. Previous expeditions reported signal degradation and cognitive interference." Dr. Novak adjusted settings on the consciousness buffer control panel. Unlike the other specialists who wore various forms of protective gear, she and Commander Chen had only simple neural interfaces attached to their temples. "Your confidence in that minimal protection is concerning," remarked Threx, who had volunteered for the mission despite his misgivings. His exosuit was the most robust on the ship, triple-layered with redundant systems. "The human mind has different vulnerabilities and different strengths," Dr. Novak replied without looking up. "Sometimes less shielding allows for better adaptation." "Entering void boundary in 30 seconds, announced the navigation officer, a luminescent Olnir whose body had been specially modified for the mission. The transition was both more and less dramatic than expected. No violent turbulence shook the ship, no alarms blared. Instead, a profound silence fell across the command deck as the crimson mists enveloped the Horizon Breaker. The quiet was followed by a subtle pressure behind the eyes, a sensation of being observed from all directions simultaneously. Shields holding at 87%, reported that Sendri engineer, her crystalline fingers dancing across holographic controls. Degradation rate within acceptable parameters. Mind buffer functioning normally, added Dr. Novak, though her voice carried an edge of strain. Cognitive interference present, but manageable. High Admiral Zentrix felt it too. Whispers at the edge of perception, thoughts that weren't quite his own trying to take root in his consciousness. Time to target. Approximately 12 minutes at current velocity, the navigation officer responded. The human vessel appears to have drifted further into the void since our last observation. The Horizon Breaker pushed deeper into the crimson expanse. As they approached, the ESS Odyssey came into view, a dark silhouette against the swirling red backdrop, those curious patterns on its hull now visibly pulsing with internal light. Energy readings are fluctuating wildly, reported the Calathar sensor specialist. "The patterns appear to be responding to our presence." Dr. Novak and Commander Chen exchanged a glance that did not go unnoticed by Threx. "You recognize something?" the Calathar delegate accused. "Share it with the team immediately." Commander Chen hesitated before responding. "The patterns share similarities with theoretical models of neural networks, specifically those modeled after human dream states." Dream states? Elder Morveth, who had insisted on joining the mission despite her age, drifted closer. "You believe the ship is dreaming?" "Not exactly," Dr. Novak clarified. "But these patterns resemble how our brains organize information during certain altered states of consciousness. States where the boundaries between perception and reality become permeable." The horizon breaker settled into position alongside the Odyssey. Close-up scans revealed the Earth vessel was physically intact, but transformed in subtle ways. The hull material had changed composition at the molecular level, incorporating elements unknown to any Council database. "Preparing boarding team," Zentrix announced. Dr. Novak, Commander Chen, Elder Morveth, and myself. "The rest of you maintain position and be prepared for emergency extraction." The boarding party transferred to the Odyssey through a sealed connection tube. As they stepped aboard the human vessel, their various sensor equipment registered the same phenomenon. Everything was simultaneously familiar and profoundly altered. The corridors maintained their original layout, but surfaces had developed intricate, flowing textures that seemed to respond to proximity. "The crew quarters," Commander Chen suggested, leading them through the silent hallways. They found no bodies, no signs of violence or struggle. Personal belongings remained in place, but covered in the same flowing patterns that adorned the hull. In the captain's quarters, they discovered a journal. Actual paper, a human affectation, with the final entry still legible. Day 47. "The dreams are getting stronger. We all share them now. Something vast is reaching out to us through the void, using our minds as bridges. Not malevolent, just different, incomprehensibly different. Ellie thinks we're being transformed. Jensen believes we're being translated. I don't have better words for it. We're becoming something else, something new. If you find this, don't fear the void. It's not a boundary. It's a gateway." Dr. Novak closed the journal gently. "The consciousness buffer is registering increasing pressure. Whatever affected this crew, it's still active." As if responding to her words, the patterns around them pulsed with renewed intensity. The flowing textures on the walls began to coalesce, forming three-dimensional structures that protruded into the room. "We need to return to our vessel," Threx insisted, his exosuit's warning systems blaring. "Now." "Wait." Elder Morvath moved toward one of the structures, her crystalline body resonating with its pulses. "It's forming a communication node. I can feel it attempting to interface." Before anyone could stop her, the Elder reached out, her crystalline appendage making contact with the pulsing structure. Immediately, every surface in the room erupted with light. The patterns flowed like liquid, converging around the five of them. And then they understood. The phantom vessel, the grand chambers of the Galactic Conclave, fell into stunned silence as the holographic projection materialized in the center of the vast circular hall. High Admiral Zentrix of the Ulnar Federation raised a skeletal hand, its translucent blue skin revealing the complex network of luminescent veins beneath. "Esteemed representatives," Zentrix's voice resonated through the chamber. "What you see before you defies all established knowledge of the Crimson Void." The projection showed a small vessel, unmistakably of Earth origin, drifting silently through the swirling red mists of the most feared region in known space. The Crimson Void had claimed thousands of advanced ships over the centuries, including 17 Ulnar dreadnoughts and dozens of Calathar exploratory vessels. Nothing survived in the void. Until now. "Impossible," hissed Delegate Threx of the Calathar Dominion, his scaled skin flushing a deep purple with agitation. "Our finest ships disintegrate within minutes of entering the void. This primitive human craft cannot possibly." And yet it does, interrupted Ambassador Nivera of the Solarian Alliance, the only human representative in the conclave. Her calm demeanor stood in stark contrast to the collective anxiety filling the chamber. The vessel has been identified as the ESS Odyssey, a research ship reported missing 3 solar cycles ago. The assembled delegates erupted in a cacophony of voices, clicks, and telepathic emissions. High Admiral Zentrix raised both hands, restoring order with practiced authority. Scans confirm the vessel has been within the void for at least 2 standard cycles. Zentrix continued. It shows minimal structural damage despite conditions that would atomize our most advanced ships. More disturbing still, we detect no life signs aboard, yet the ship's systems remain partially operational. Ambassador Nivera stepped forward, her face illuminated by the crimson glow of the hologram. The Odyssey was staffed by 12 of our finest researchers. If they discovered something about the void, or if something discovered them, interrupted Delegate Threx, mandibles clicking in nervous rhythm. The gathered representatives shifted uncomfortably. For millennia, the Crimson Void had been more than just a navigational hazard. It had been a boundary, a line in space that no species dared to cross. Ancient texts spoke of it as a wound in reality, a place where the laws of physics frayed and consciousness itself could unravel. "We must retrieve this vessel immediately," declared Elder Morvath of the Xendri Consortium, her crystalline body reflecting fractals of light across the chamber. "If humans have found a way to penetrate the void, the balance of power in the galaxy will shift dramatically." Ambassador Nivera's expression remained neutral, though her eyes betrayed a flash of indignation. "The Solarian Alliance has no interest in upsetting galactic stability. We are as mystified by this discovery as you are." "Are you?" Threx's voice dripped with suspicion. "Humans have consistently pushed boundaries other species respect. Your kind's reckless curiosity is legendary and dangerous." High Admiral Zentrix intervened before tensions could escalate further. "What matters now is not assigning blame but understanding this anomaly. I propose we assemble a joint investigation team to approach and examine the vessel." The hologram shifted, displaying new data streams. "Our sensors detect unusual energy patterns emanating from the ship," Zentrix continued. "They don't match any known power source, human or otherwise." The Conclave's chief scientist, a gelatinous fiend named Ulith, floated forward in his hovering containment field. "These readings are perplexing. The energy signature appears to be both coming from the ship and passing through it simultaneously, as if the vessel exists in multiple dimensional states." Dimensional phasing. Elder Morvath's crystalline structure vibrated with concern. "That technology is theoretical at best, catastrophically unstable at worst." Ambassador Nivera shook her head. The Odyssey carried no such experimental technology. It was a standard research vessel equipped only for deep space observation and sample collection.